Humming like the inexorable energy of the universe. Humming like an air conditioning generator. Humming like electricity. Humming like a refrigerator. Humming, feel the energy, feel the pulse, feel the rhythm. Humming like a fluorescent bulb with the starter motor gone. Humming like the nod of disapproval of an old lady seeing a drag queen. Humming like gravity, like tragedy, like a diesel-engined bus. Humming like the inexplicable machinery next to a swimming pool. Humming like the indecisive purr of my aunt in a sweet shop. Humming like the electricity substation next to the gents' bogs in the car park at Lidl's. Humming like the central heating in my mother's house in the middle of summer, just turn it down a smidgen. Humming like the inexorable energy of the universe. My tire is flat, my roof is flat, my cola is flat, I live in a flat. My pancake is flat, my iron is flat, my enthusiasm is flat, my coffee is a flat white. My battery is flat, the joke I told fell flat. Norfolk is flat, I played a piano in B flat. My carpet is flat, on the floor of my flat. My cap is flat, it's a flat cap. I showed this poem to a friend. They thought it was too one-dimensional. Now I really ought to tell you about the job I got. To look at me you wouldn't think it's true. Now I may not be a fella who tends to get hard-hearted. I think I'd better tell you what I do. I'm the bloke that bungs up rat-holes, yes I am. I'm a rat-hole bunger-upper too and all. And when I speak of rat-holes, I don't mean babies' rattles, I mean holes that's gnawed by rats right through the wall. Now I may have had some narrow squeaks in my time, though I don't look very brave or fond of strife. But all the time there's rat-holes, there'll be bungers up of rat-holes, so it looks as if I got a job for life. Know what I mean? Hot, hot surfer dude dancing on the wave. Hot, hot surfer dude, you live a life I crave. Hot, hot surfer dude, you are so very brave. Hot, hot surfer dude, watch out for that walrus. Hot, hot surfer dude, I'd invite you back to my beachfront surf shack, but you probably drip all over the floor. Thank you. Just another day in Smurftown. Just another day with these Smurfs. They're all so blue and chirpy. Just another day with these jerks. But you and me are wombles. It's the way it's always been. And we will go a-wombling. Is it really such a sin? with the bus where the cool guys sit. The cool guys sit, ever so hip. I try and make my way to sit with them. Are you cool, they say. Yes, I say. Are you cool, they say. No, I say. Though I did once wear a baseball cap, front to back. It was kind of the style at the time. And now I sit elsewhere. Oi! Well, yes, hello. Thank you so much. I'm just going to do a few poems for New Year's Day, like I always do. There was some quick ones there, some little short poems, and one of them was written by Jack Warner and performed in the 1930s and 40s on the old music hall stage in London. So it's always good to go back to these old stuff, or at least, you know, the ones that aren't a little bit dodgy these days. Because I have a lot of influences and people that I look up to. And one of them is Dame Edith Sitwell. And I wrote this next poem. I tried to do it in her style, so I'm gonna do it now. Here we go. It's called Coffee Shop. Breakfast bap in a non-stop coffee shop, mocha mocha joker taking calculated pop shots, nutty roast, fat jack, fuffy most backpack, sad sack, fat back, bet he drives a hatchback. Souped up car, drives it far, have a pano chocolat, coffee shop, coffee shop. Costa roaster boaster, making toasting costs toaster with the toasting roasts on the table, use a coaster. Barista sister kissed her, gets a blister from the steamer, throw her plasters to my sister, better duck, oh good it missed her. Have a cup of cappuccino, fill it up with roasted beano from the coffee roast, Costa boaster, coffee cuppa hoster. It's a coffee shop, coffee shop, coffee shop. Steam spewing steamer, spewing steam, stewing cleaner, skinny latte somewhat keener, seeming customer less keener. Cream top coffee, toffee syrup, frothy coffee with a hot milk syrup up his nose, it's out of coffee. Raises up his china mug, sips his coffee from his lip, coffee drips from his lip, think I'm gonna be sick. It's a coffee shop, coffee shop, coffee shop. Drip fed filter throws barista off a kilter, puts a filter on the filter, done without a sense of guilt. Shaky hands me sums a spilter, speaks so softly with a lilter. Queue goes longer like a conga round, it's winding and it's snaking. In for caffeine every day they come a jittering and shaking. In for caffeine every day they come a jittering and shaking. In for caffeine every day they come a jittering and shaking. It's a coffee shop, coffee shop, coffee shop. What are you staring at, mariner man, wrinkled as sea sand and as old as the sea? Those trains will run over their tails if they can, snorting and sporpoising like porpoises free. The whirligig wheels of the train, as round as the world and as large again, running half the way over to Babylon down, through fields of clover to gay Troy town. A puffing their smoke as grey as the curl, and my forehead as wrinkled as sands of the sea. But what can it matter to you, my girl? And what can it matter to me? So there we go. That was a bit of Dame Edith Sitwell there. She really was quite an eccentric person. I really loved her stuff, so it's always worth checking out. And speaking of coffee shops, I went to a coffee shop the other day, and they had 3 sizes of cup, and I asked for a large, but when it came over it was a small, and I said, hey, this is a small, and he said, no, it's a large. We have 3 sizes: large, extra large and jumbo. And I said, it's a small. He said, it's a large. I said, compared to the others, it's a small, incidentally. Story of my life. He said, it's a large. We have 3 sizes here: large, extra large and jumbo. And I said, I wanted the biggest coffee you do. He said, you got a large. I said, I wanted the biggest. He said, you got a large. We have 3 sizes here. Large, extra large and jumbo. And by the way, it's free refills. So, yes, that actually did occur. So there we go. We've had some Jack Warner and we've had some Dame Edith Sitwell. So what I'm going to do now are 3 poems all about a favourite subject of mine, which is aviation. This first one I wrote, it's going to be about 15 years ago, 12 years ago. I actually, I did this improvisatory. I found a website back in the old days where you could find a beat and just add words to it. And this is the words I came up with, and then I just kept the words. So it's called Aviator. It's a bit weird. Come over here, he said. You look pretty frazzled for someone who's just fallen out of the sky. I'm an aviator. I've been flying up to Edinburgh with the night mail in my leather jacket and my sexy goggles, and you know what happened? Turbulence happened. I saw the storm right ahead with the thunder and the lightning and the wind and the hail, and I thought, that's going to tear the canvas off my wings, no problem. I thought, I'm gonna bring her in. I'm gonna bring her down for a landing. And that's how I ended up here in your crappy little town. I landed on the golf course. Sorry about the windmill. You should see what it's done to my sup with camel. And then you go and ask if I want a drink. And you know what? After everything that's happened today, that has to be the most satisfying insult of the year. Funnily enough, here's a postcard from your Aunt Edna. Just happened to be next to me in the cockpit. Oh my. Something a bit more serious now, but also aviation based. And this is from one of my favourite poets in the whole wide world, Rose Cook. And she knows I love this poem, so I do perform it every now and then when she's not looking. It's called In Love and Aviation. And so, as we take off, the cheerful man in the seat next to me with his giant RAF watch with gold wings for hands and his crowned winged badge and his lapel and his blazer with brass buttons asks me if I understand the principles of flight. He takes out his pen and draws a diagram on his newspaper, explaining in a friendly voice about the wing shape, drag and lift and airflow. It's all a question of balance. I understand it is the same in possibility with love. Later, I point out the light auras on the propellers, how they look like cartoon drawings. Ah yes, he smiles, the halos. And he laughs. So that was Rose Cook from her wonderful book, Notes from a Bright Field. And I think I'll do one more aviation poem from my book, Woodview, which is all about growing up and aviation. So here we go. It's called, this poem, when I was in my early 20s, I wrote a novel and it was the most pretentious thing you've ever seen. It was all in second person. But I took a chapter out of this novel and I made it into a play. And then amazingly, that play won a competition and was performed over 2 nights at the Northcote Theatre in Exeter with a professional cast, along with some other plays. And then I took one monologue from that play and turned it into a poem, and it's called Show Me the World One Last Time. Show me the world one last time. The wild forests, the frozen glaciers. Let me fly above them, my wings throwing down a fleeting shadow which rises up steep valleys. The freedom of the skies, mountainous white clouds, the shadow of our little plane distorting in the folds and hollows of thunderheads, as if we should find some place cosy to sleep and snooze on high. And the cities, distant cities illuminated at night, tentatively we hang there on final approach, with our ears popping, and the old plane shuddering, gliding, watching the lights of the town reveal themselves slowly like constellations, growing larger, and soon the runway itself becomes visible. The city, it reaches out a clammy hand and snatches us from the sky. So that was from Woodview, my book from about 4 years ago. Okay, let's do some silly ones. If I can find it, that is page 82. Boom, boom, boom. Honk, honk. Boom, boom, boom. A fluga, 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 fluga. A fluga, fluga, fluga. A fluga, 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 fluga. A fluga, fluga, fluga. And now over to Bill with the sport. Boom, boom, boom. Mama, 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 poo. Mama, 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 poo. Mama, 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 poo. They say the Great Wall of China is the only man-made object that you can see from space. Yet if you go on Google satellite maps, you can clearly make out my neighbour's washing line. Boom, boom, plop, plop, plop. I got Bill and Ben, the flower pot men, to perform at my sister's wedding, but my God, I had to pull some strings. Boom, boom, boom. Ha! 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 Barnsley. And that was a haiku. So there we go, just a little bit of sound poetry there for anyone who is up for some sound poetry on New Year's Day. Hello, Billy, Tea time. Gruts for tea, Billy. Billy, come on, son. Gruts for tea. Fresh gruts. Oh, I don't want gruts for tea, Daddy. What? I went out specially and got them for you. Oh, but Daddy, we had gruts yesterday. Look, son, I walked 7 miles to the high wood to get you gruts. That's 14 miles in all, counting the journey back, and you don't want gruts? I fried them for you. Fried gruts. I fried them in butter. I don't want them, Daddy. Daddy, we've had gruts for 3 years now. I'm fed up with gruts. I don't want them anymore. Daddy, can't we have something else for tea? Oh, son, gruts. They're lovely, gruts. Daddy, I don't want gruts anymore. I hate gruts. I detest them. I had them every day and they're always fried in butter. Can't you think of another way of cooking gruts? There's hundreds of ways of cooking gruts. Boil them, or bake them, or stew them, or braise them, but every day fried gruts. Billy, come in for tea. Fried gruts. I've walked 14 miles, 7 miles to the high wood and back, 3 years of gruts. Look what it's done to me, Daddy. Come here. Come here into the bedroom and look at ourselves in the mirror, you and me. Now look at that. Yes, yes, I see what you mean. Son, let's not waste these gruts. Tomorrow I'll go to the high wood and get something else. Look, Daddy, you've been saying that for 3 years now. Every day we have the same thing. I take you to the mirror and you say we'll have something else for tea. What else is there in the high woods except gruts? Well, there's leaves and bark and grass and leaves. Gruts are really the best. You've got to admit it. Yes, Daddy, I admit it. Gruts are really the best, but I don't want them. I hate them. I detest them. In fact, I'm going to take this pan full of gruts and throw it out. Oh, don't do that. Don't throw them out, for goodness sake. You'll poison the dog. So that was, I'm sure you recognise, that was a bit of Ivor Cutler there, who is one of my big influences as a performer. I think it's time now for a TED Talk. Welcome to my TED Talk. This clicker isn't working. Welcome to my TED Talk. This clicker isn't working. How are we going to solve various big things? 3 golden rules. This clicker isn't working. Shame about my clicker. Coming into the coffee shop, I'm the bastard looking for a power socket, charging up my laptop, charging power to power my PowerPoint presentation. I have the power! If I do this, what you've just witnessed me doing is an example of positive thinking. 3 golden rules. Number 1, achieve the continuous. Number 2, apply it like a haberdasher. Number 3 can be split into 24 subheadings. This clicker isn't working. If I put my hand in my pocket and wander around, it makes me look more relaxed. You've got to understand that people always make the wrong decisions. Welcome to my TED Talk, Smug Life Hacks, 14 different subheadings. You can usually work out exactly where the bus will stop, and this will save you time and energy. There are 8 different things I learned. Smug bastard, when I lost my luggage while backpacking. If I do this, it's an example of sonic dissonance. Madam, when did you last knowingly have spaghetti? My boat sank, and I didn't even get slightly wet. My life is changed with new purpose. I learned 12 new things, 12 new life hacks. Life hacks. Life hacks. This clicker is getting on my nerves. 1. Technology. 2. Murdering people is generally frowned on. 3. The power of positive thinking. 4. This clicker. 5. I know 6 people called Ted and they all talk. PowerPoint presentation. Validate it. PowerPoint presentation. Validate it. Let's just validate it, shall we? This is an aha moment. Take on me, you fiend, you bastard. It's a unified mental model, Mrs. McGough. It's a visual interaction. It's the same as every damn TED talk. This clicker definitely is not working. Thank you. Oh my, I think I'll do something a bit calmer now. Let's just do, we'll do this one here. So I wrote this poem in the Arctic in Norway after going on a boat ride. It's a true story. I shouldn't let it happen. It really is quite stupid. The way I sense in any man the beating wings of Cupid. You came and sat right next to me and smiled and something passed. Passenger's boat on a pleasure boat, by its nature it couldn't last. We spent the night having adventures, in fjords and on frozen seas, coupled by fate on a makeshift date so relaxed and totally at ease. I've always had a romantic side and a lust for far-off places, and a dream to find my one true love amid the world's anonymous faces. Oh, Thomas, there was something strong between us. We each were a cure. But I knew all the time there was something wrong. Love is seldom so convenient or pure. It wouldn't have worked. It couldn't have worked. There was no sense in trying. If I were younger, I would have stressed, said nothing and spent the whole day sighing. So I held back and let you go and pretended it wasn't worth it. Sometimes life comes in monstrous waves and all you can do is surf it. We arrived at the dock on the harbour. My heart it beat its pumping refrain. Left the boat on the gangplank together, knowing I'd never see you again. So that was a little sad, that one. That was a story, obviously, of a romantic entanglement, but almost an entanglement. Because it always comes as a shock to people when they discover I'm gay. And I suppose it's because I'm so butch and masculine and something of a hard nut, and basically because I'm a stud. But being a gay person means you have to go to a lot of straight places, including straight pubs. This is from my collection Zebra. It's called The Straight Pub. You've heard rumours of their existence, bars, pubs, but just for straight people, which is kind of weird because you wouldn't think they'd have it in them. I mean, the capacity for enjoyment. Have you seen these people? Have you seen how miserable they look? You go in the door The thick smog of alcohol, sweat, disappointment, antifungal medication, beef-flavoured crisps, Haynes car manuals. It really is a straight pub. Try not to make eye contact. The traditional straight greeting is asking what football team you support. You've rehearsed the answer so many times. I like them all. They're as good as each other. Can't go wrong with that in a straight pub. Trying to act a bit more masculine. A blokey shoulder barge walk through these haggard alpha males. Progress halted when your feet stick to the carpet. It's a straight pub. All those ashen faces, all those flabby cheeks, all that denim, baggy misshapen men, curly head Clarkson wannabes, the sweaters and the belchers, the pungent and the loud, serial guffers and tracky bottom Lotharios nursing pints as if all of life's frustrations can be cured by Carlsberg, and the man at the bar with the mullet, blank eyes staring as if in mourning for a long-lost youthfulness. Oh, the meaningless of existence in a straight pub. There's no glitter ball. There's no dancing stage. There's no dry ice. The condom machine has rusted up, and as if to reinforce the status quo, the jukebox only plays status quo, and someone's left a power drill on charge by the skirting board. It's a straight pub. There's a porcelain vase on the windowsill. It's filled with chisels. Ordering wine. No, lager. The barman asks which one. You say any. They all taste the same. The barman says, I'll surprise you. You say, oh. The barman says, pardon? You say, all day long I've been waiting for that. Phew, good save. Looks like you got away with it. Nobody suspects. Leaning near the pool table in a nonchalant manner, taking a sip of the lager and grimacing with the taste of it, accidentally sticking out your little finger. Dodgy Dan looks over from the darts board suspiciously. So that was a fairly old one there. Just going to do a couple more poems, I think. What should I? Oh, I tell you what. Got something a bit special. My first ever collection was called Nice, and it was published by Burning Eye exactly now 10 years ago, would you believe? It came out the same day as David Bowie's last album. So yeah, 2015, 2025, yeah, 10 years. And what I've been doing, I've been rewriting some of the poems in it. So this is a world premiere, the new updated remixed version of a poem from that collection. It's called Poem. A friend of mine thinks he might be straight. I told him there's a lot of it going around. Someone's got to be watching all this football they have on TV. I thought something was amiss when you started wearing tracksuits with vertical writing on each leg, and eating Bombay bad boy pot noodles, and going on websites to look at sheds, and watching Peaky Blinders and saying things like, I see myself as kind of like that bloke on Peaky Blinders, and saying things like, you know what, I really like bosoms. But it's nothing to be ashamed of. Some of the most exciting people around at the moment are straight, like Ben Affleck, and Wayne Rooney, and David Hasselhoff, and Alan Titchmarsh, and Matt Hancock. I told him, now look, Rod, you balk at quiche, you read The Sun, and when you tell an interesting anecdote, you always start at the end and work your way back to the beginning. You watched Titanic and you laughed when the boat sank. You went into Starbucks and you moaned when they said they didn't do chips. I think you might be straight. You extol the virtues of Lynx Africa deodorant and Black and Decker Sanders. You think Drag Race is about drag racing. You watch Love Island and you kind of shift upwards in your seat a little bit when you think one of the women is about to go topless, which never happens, but each time you make a disappointed noise like a sad walrus. You know what a crankshaft is, but you never laugh when anyone says crankshaft. I think you might be straight. Crankshaft. But it doesn't change a thing. In spite of your straightness, it doesn't change a thing. In spite of your level barking, ever so heartening, masculine muscle crunch, fish and chip lunch, deep fat fried hair not blow dried, never walked in gay pride, oily handed, sports theme branded, straighty, matey, farting, belching, darts playing, wood soaring, boob gawping, cable lagging, dreams of Kylie and shagging, straight jacketing, straight talking, straight living, straight life, to which you have plummeted to such effect as to seem almost ironic, as to appear just a little camp. I think on the most part you must be rampantly heterosexual if it wasn't for what we did last night. Thank you. Okay, just a couple more now. This is a rare request, if I can find the book. The usual request I get is please don't do any poems. The second request I usually get is, can you do the one called Fozzie? I spent a night of passion with Fozzie Bear from the Muppet Show. The whole encounter was surprisingly erotic. At sensitive and pleasurable moments, he had a habit of suddenly shouting, "Waka, waka, waka," which took the shine off things. He kept his hat on all the time. He marked out his territory all over the living room. He mauled the postman. He was a surprisingly good kisser. We chatted about philosophy, and he told me his belief that he was being controlled at all times by unseen hands. I told him my Uncle Sid once owned a trilby the same as his. Fozzie asked if Uncle Sid was a Muppet, and I said no. He worked for the gas board. And then Fozzie said, you know those two old men? Those two old men that used to heckle me all the time. Do you remember them? And all the heckling they did? They're dead now. The pair of them, dead and buried. So I said, you had the last laugh. No, he said, you should see the abuse I get on Twitter. With the lights off, he became tender and loving. He ran his fluffy fingers through my hair and told me he'd not felt like this since a failed romance with the Swedish chef. He took off his polka dot bow tie and knotted it round my wrist, which I found strangely erotic. Do you want to wear the hat? He asked. No thanks, I replied, thinking of my Uncle Sid. Wear it, he said. Wear it. Wear it. Wear the hat. Go on. Put the hat on. Put the hat on. Put it on. Wear it. I want you to wear the hat. I want you to wear the hat. I want you to wear the hat. Put the hat on. Put it on, bad boy. Wear it, bad boy. Wear it, stud muffin. Wear it, you tart. Wear it. Wear the hat. Wear the hat. Wear the hat. Just wear the bloody hat. I put it on and he wacka wacka whacked. He left before the night was over. He stole my wallet. Thank you. So I've got one last poem. I think I'll do one from my new collection, Hello, which is this one here. It sometimes feels in life that when I win, I actually lose. I don't know if you get that feeling as well, but I'll give you an example. I had a doctor's appointment, and all I had to do was get the bus into town. I'd worked it all out. The bus would get me there with plenty of time to spare, so I waited for the bus, and wouldn't you know, the bus was late. So when it finally turned up, I thought, well, we've still got time. So I hopped on, and we go off down the town, and we went 2 stops, and then it broke down. So we're sitting there, and I'm looking at time going away, and then 2 of the other passengers decide, hey, let's get a taxi, and myself and another say, yeah, we'll share it with you. So we have to wait, and then the taxi arrives, and we all get in the back of this taxi. But when one of them has a big Labrador dog, so we've got to share the back seat with a big Labrador dog, and it goes down the town. And then they start arguing about who pays and how much, and how they're going to split the bill, because some people are going here and some people are going there. And then it becomes a full-blown argument. We get to the doctors, and I just throw in £5, and I get out and I run into the doctors, and they got one of those touch screens there where you have to put in your details, and I put in my details, but I misspell my own name. I have to put them in again, and it finally says, oh, go to the waiting room. So I went to the waiting room, and I got to the waiting room, and I went to sit down, and just as I sat down, the doctor came out and called my name, and I went in, and he told me I had high blood pressure. It always seems when I win, I lose. And that's what happens in this poem as well. He said, if I were lucky, I could win the main prize in the raffle, a ride on a traction engine. And though I was hoping for the bottle of cheap red, which would knock me as blotto as a hippopotamus, I was 1 number out, and wouldn't you know it, I'd won a ride on a traction engine. And by the way, they said, it's mandatory. I wanted to get it over with. I mean, wouldn't you? Flat caps always make me look like a farmer with a penchant for porn. Yet there I stood mid-morning with mild-mannered Matt in a field near Yeovil. Matt, whose passion for traction engines far outstripped any passion of my own, same for that I have long harboured for Wool's Viennettas. Honestly, said Matt in his jaunty hat, as we climbed into the cab, this will be better than sex. It went chugga chugga latty boom boom, chugga chugga latty clank, boom boom ranching, pop quizzy bang quizzy pop, just like sex. Chugga chugga latty boom boom, chugga chugga latty clank, boom boom ranching, pop quizzy bang quizzy pop. Here we go, said Matt, and it juddered and shook and rattled and lurched forward, and soon we were chugging across that field. Boom boom wadda wadda boom boom wadda wadda pop quizzy bang quizzy pop. And Matt yelled, what do you think? Pop quizzy bang quizzy pop. And I yelled, I think my filling just fell out. Pop quizzy bang quizzy pop. And Matt said, when was the last time you were jostled and battered and oscillated in such a manner? And I thought of my Stephen, in the days when we used to do it like turning off and on a tap. But now we haven't done it in quite some time, and I touched his leg the other night, and he said, as if I was a dog about to pick up a cigarette packet, no. And to be honest, pop quizzy bang quizzy pop, I'm thinking of dumping the bastard. But isn't life just like that? Boom boom ranching. And Matt's busy manhandling various gears, columns, cogs, wheels, vents, and we get to the end of the field and he turns that mother around and we come all the way back again. Chugga chugga latty boom boom, chugga chugga latty clank, boom boom ranching, pop quizzy bang quizzy pop. Ka-chur, ka-chur, ka-ping! And we shuddered to a halt. Oh, blast, said Matt. It's a blown gasket, he said. Brian will have to come over with his toolbox. And I clambered down from the cab, and I wiped the grime from my borrowed dungarees, and I grinned in a way that I hadn't since last October's orgasm, in which I'd shouted 180! And Stephen had said, I think we'd better call it a day. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful 2025. My name has been Robert Garnham. Thank you for flying with me.